Whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours, now through December 20th. All of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net, and together we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Nobody can tell me a girl just bought some rice for decoration. Ain't nobody cooking, nobody baking. Leaving my girls in the shower. No more missing the hot water. Pop my woo-ha in the sky. 'Cause nobody here to judge my life. Leave the dishes in the sink. Do some cartwheels. 'Cause my furniture ain't can't stand a shipping thing. I just got a new apartment. I'm gonna leave the floor wet.
Welcome in to hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, this is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. Ari Lennox, right? Okay, just making sure. I thought it was. I love that song. It's so relaxing. Makes you want to light a candle and lay out in your house and just enjoy a day. You know, just enjoy being in your peace, setting it up. So listen, Andy, what you got to say?
You know, that's my first time actually hearing that song.
And listening to the words?
Yeah, did she say she's going to put her whatever up in the air?
Yeah. Her hoo-ha to the sky.
Okay. I mean, that's what you was describing right there.
Yeah. Yeah, so shout out to Ari, you know, that new apartment feeling. Cartwheels in the air, dishes in the sink, curlers in the shower, freedom. I feel that. So listen, speaking of freedom and female rappers, you know, we've talked a little bit about the One Music Fest that took place over the weekend. We talked about Janet and Jermaine and Nelly and Ashanti having their throwback moment, them chewing up those Magic City wings that looked a little delectable, all of that. Well, listen, Lil' Kim performed at the One Festival too. And I'm kind of trying to understand where this move came from. Love Kim down. Love Kim. But I'm wondering, was this a move to maybe try and compete with what's happening with the younger female rappers? I'm not sure. But if you weren't aware, Lil' Kim, during her performance at the One Music Fest, threw her panties in the crowd. She said, "What do I got to do for y'all next?" Then she said, "Panties coming down," and she awkwardly pulled down her panties and threw them in the crowd. So, let's be clear. One, I believe she had the panties over some other pants, but you couldn't tell by what she had on initially. Two, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could argue that could be Lil' Kim roots. Kind of was confusing to me. Maybe 20 years ago, that would have been daring and got the people going. Now it just seems a little weird. just out of place. Didn't really understand where that was coming from. But I tell you one thing though, whoever the camera guy was that got the footage, boo to him, fire to him. I don't know if it was her guy, if it was just a fan, because they didn't get the crowd's reaction. And I want to know what the crowd did. Did somebody catch it? Did they move to the side? I want to know what the reaction was to little Kim saying, I'm going to take my little panties down and throw them in the crowd. Kim, don't do that anymore. Just do our little dance that you do and the breakdown. You're the queen. We don't need that from you, Even though you do what you do, we could leave that where it is. So anyway, listen, Northwest is a trip, right? She has been in the news quite a bit for a 10-year-old. But I suppose if your mom is Kim Kardashian and they've been on our reality TV screens for the last almost 20 years, can you imagine? Think about that. There are TV shows that don't go that many seasons, and we have been actively tapped in. Maybe not you. I understand. Not everybody keeps up with the Kardashians, but you kept up with some. And you may not be watching the Hulu show, but we hear about it, right? So, North is a character. We've seen her TikToks. We've heard Kanye be upset about her being on TikTok and these things, but he seems to at least have gotten over it, or at least decided to not publicly address it. And North has, I feel like found her little personality type. She seems to really enjoy the performance aspect and getting everybody in and doing TikTok dance, being a normal kid, right? So I think that desire in some ways for normalcy, I stumbled a little bit, but you got it. The desire for a normal childhood might be extending to weekends with dad. So recently, right, on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because it's on Hulu now, not E. The old show was that. Not only did Kim show Northwest eating an onion raw, biting into it like an apple, Kim said that North just likes vegetables and she eats them like that. So I feel like North somewhere secretly has an old black woman in her or something. That seems like a very Southern thing to do that you would hear about. But Kim also recently revealed that Northwest has certain feelings about their living situation. When we come forward, we're going to play you Kim's comments and then break down what I think might be happening. There's actually two things. One is the obvious one, maybe not so obvious. All of that and more, you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl, yeah. It's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, like I said, Northwest is a character. We've been keeping up with the Kardashians, now just the Kardashians for some time now. And I feel like though North likes, obviously performing, makeup, all of these things, being a true 10-year-old, right? Just having a good time and experimenting, understanding that her parents are very, very famous. We saw her dressed up as her dad's graduation bearer on Halloween, amongst several other costumes. And we've also seen her flick off paparazzi. We see now her younger brother, Saint, is doing the same thing. And obviously, they don't know life any other way, but it probably is kind of frustrating as a kid to have to be surrounded by all of that, right? So Kim on the Kardashians was speaking with Courtney, and she was just saying how North kind of goes in on her about the lifestyle that they lead. So let's take a listen.
North, she'll go to her dad. She'll be like, Dad is the best. He has it all figured out. He doesn't have a nanny. He doesn't have a chef. He doesn't have security. He lives in an apartment. And she'll start crying, why don't you have an apartment? I can't believe we don't have an apartment.
So one, girl, you have a house. Why do you need an apartment? But that's 10-year-old kids. I think one thing, divorce is hard on children, right? It can be. And I think that as a child, sometimes, I know it happened with friends that I had growing up, some of them. Sometimes you glamorize going to your other parent's home because, it's almost like a vacation. It gets to be more fun in some ways because you don't have to deal with the day-to-day rules and regulations, right? Two, we know Kanye is Kanye, so obviously he and North were pretty tight, pretty close. And I also feel like that's a little bit of, using the child to kind of manipulate the mom. Obviously, their divorce has been settled or whatever. I think even the financial issues that were still lingering, I think those have been settled as well. But I do think that Kanye still engages in psychological warfare a little bit. So I think there might be some of that going on. And then also, I think because Ye has become a bit of a recluse, he's obviously not filming a reality show, that even though North likes to express herself through TikTok, it probably is a bit of a relief not to have the cameras and all of that around you. And it kind of brings up another topic that people discuss about children celebrities, right? We've seen a lot of kids that were child stars that grow up and crash and burn. We've seen some others that are seemingly well adjusted and things of that nature. But I often wonder what would happen to our entertainment if no one under 18 was allowed to participate in, acting or things like that. Because people are always like, oh, it's so unfair, it's so hard, it's so difficult on the kids. But what if we did something like that? I don't know. I just wonder what North's path is going to be. Because on one hand, she's 10, of course. 10-year-olds are going to change their mind 150,000 times, and they don't know. But I really wonder at times if the show and those things are really taking a toll on her, or if it's just a kid expressing their feelings. So, speaking of Kim, one of her besties manifested the dream collaboration for herself. So, a couple of weeks ago, Sierra was speaking in an interview about who she would like to collaborate with, who her dream collaborator would be. And she said Wheezy. Well, she's dropping a remix to her That's How We Roll, and it's going to feature Lil Wayne and Chris Brown. She just dropped some of the visuals online. The remix is out now. So Wayne seems to really be back on a tear. He's really back out there doing shows. Does he have a new album coming out? I don't know. I kind of feel like though Wayne is legendary, and people felt like he really was in his bag on the new single that he dropped with Tyga. But are we seeing a little resurgence of Lil Wayne, or has his time passed? Andy, I have to ask you because, that is kind of your resident area. Do you think that like Wayne can have a resurgence, or is he too kind of aging out of the process, even though we have older rappers now?
He's aging out of the process. And I only say that because I'm going based off of his own discography. I think he reached his peak on the Carter 3.
So when did that come out? When was that?
That was 2008.
Wow, you think he reached his peak that long ago?
100%, because prior to that, that's when he was killing the mixtape game.
Mm-hmm.
And just the anticipation for that album was just big. Then he went ahead and dropped Lollipop, and the Carter 3 was just,
that was crazy.
It was a classic album. And then after that, do y'all remember the Carter 4 like that?
I didn't even know it was a
Carter. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all remember the Carter 5 like that? You know what I'm saying? He just recently dropped the mixtape called the Fix Before the 6. You know what I mean? I listened to it
once.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It's a couple records. I mean, the hottest track he got right now is the intro to Undisputed, and I play that like almost every day.
Do you really?
Man, I love that song. He ripped that joint. When Skip Bayless was like, "Oh, this one is better than the first one," I'm like, yeah, whatever. Nah, it's hard.
Okay.
Lil Wayne ripped it. I mean, he's still talented. He still got skills.
Of course.
But I think his time is gone. But first out, right? We were talking about Drake and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would help resurrect maybe his career, not resurrect, I mean he's already there, but just maybe take his career to the next level. Same thing with Wayne. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in Nicki Minaj in. All three of them individuals should work on a compilation album together.
Interesting. Do you think they're at the point in their career where they would want to revisit and work together? I mean, because obviously we have a long history of those three collaborating with each other, in some different points or fashion, some connection to it. Do you think at this point they are still in a space where they could come together and work?
They should. I mean, what would prevent that?
I feel like the relationships aren't really the same. I think that Nicki and Drake probably have an interesting relationship, that could be. I think that also where they're each at as far as their careers, I don't think that they feel. Drake obviously is open to collabs. He, did the one with 21 Savage. We've seen him do stuff with Future 2 times or whatever. I don't think that it would be the him, but I don't know if the three of them together would even really do anything, because I feel like they're at such different spaces. I don't know.
No, I think it will work. I don't know what music video it was. I felt like I watched it recently. I felt like Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj, they were in the video together, like, having a good time together. And Drake, I mean, Drake has gotten to a level now where it's like I feel like he surpassed a Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? He's on a whole another level or whatnot. But
So that's why I feel like it wouldn't work.
it would work though.
It would
It
work.
would work because one thing I do know about Drake is that he still holds Lil Wayne's name in high regards.
Okay.
He still shows him love. He still has reverence towards him. So, even though they're on different, platforms or different levels of their careers, I think they would, come down to normalcy to work together. And I think it would be beneficial for all three of their careers.
Interesting. Well, I think they need to do something because I don't know. But we don't even know where hip hop is headed. Not that we want to put this.
And at the same time, music probably just ain't for them right now. I think they've accomplished everything that they needed to do within music. So, who knows? Maybe they need to work on a clothing line together or something. I don't know.
I don't know what I would like to see Nicki doing. Like, I feel like she still has more to do in some ways.
I don't know what happened to Queen Radio, but she needs to bring that back and have it consistent.
Well, I know. I mean, when she left Apple, right? I think Queen Radio was the best when it was on Apple Music. So she had gotten a deal with AMP, but she wasn't consistent. I think that is one thing. You gotta whatever once a week, once a month. I mean, we even see it with Young Miami. People love Carisha Please, but they don't know when to look for it or when it's gonna be. They're like specials, like Charlemagne said that time. So I can kind of agree with that. I don't think that Nicki was really passionate about Queen Radio because if she would have kept up with it.
That's fair. I mean, it was huge though.
It was huge,
Yeah.
but I think she got bored. I think it was easier at Apple because they probably provided her with more.
Makes
and
sense.
AMP is probably more do it yourself. And I think she didn't have that much interest in it. I could be wrong though. That's just what I'm thinking. But maybe too, because we were talking about how much music Drake puts out. You think about all the mixtapes with Wayne, all the music. Maybe, I mean, and not that he hasn't taken a break, but I don't know. Maybe to your point, what's he gonna rap about too at this point? Because what is Lil Wayne even doing at this point? Casually commentating on sports? Is he still out there trying to be a skateboarder? I don't know. I feel like he's another one. When one of the things that Wayne ushered in, I think, was the rock star rap era, right? Where rappers, they always had a tinge of the rock star thing, but I think Wayne was really diving into that aesthetic, learning to play guitar. I'm a skateboard. I mean, doing things that would have been considered alternative, back in the day. That's not hip hop or whatever. And I too feel like, he got grounded in that. And now you got to try to find your way back to this over here. And you've expanded your fan base, but I don't know. I think he's bored. Probably is to figure out what's next.
I mean, too many. You got, I'm sure, over 1,000 records under your belt.
That's a lot of music.
It is a lot of music.
And when we think about older artists, they would take years in between re-releasing new music. I think the benefit of that was, one, you could experience life. So maybe you'd have some different things to speak about on the album. You might be in a different era for your life, so we see and hear and feel different things from you. And two, obviously the music cycle is not as long as it was then, but I think that is a detriment to some of these artists because, yeah, you're putting out all this music, but it's forgettable. So you have all of these songs, all this large catalog, but is anybody really going back and checking for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, are they?
I mean, when I think about my playlist is 90s, early 2000s. So
Right, but those artists too weren't coming out back to back to back to back like these are. There was space in between.
Lil Wayne didn't really come back to back. He didn't. Nicki Minaj either didn't really go back to back.
Nicki Minaj only has, what, 3 albums?
She got 3 albums. That first one dropped in, what, like 2009, 2010, and then the most recent album, I believe, was the Queen album. That was like 2018. So, she had gaps in between, but also it's been a lot of features as well, too.
True.
Lil Wayne has done a lot of features, still on some feature songs, and that's why I think they need to collaborate. On top of, they need to do a Young Money Part 2 and bring in some of the young cats that they got, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of the mixtape.
Is that a thing, though, since, well, maybe not Nicki, but since, obviously Drake, his contract is done with Young Money, right? He has OVO Sound, and, 2 bosses can link up, but if one of the bosses, is that funny? Whose label does it go under? Are we releasing both? Things like that I just feel like could be on the surface, this is my brother, but behind the scenes, I feel like it could be a little beef because there's money.
Well, Birdman needs to come around.
Birdman, I don't think Drake wants Birdman part of his future business.
Well,
that's just my.
I think there's some reverence still for Lil Wayne.
Of course.
So, all Lil Wayne got to do is be like, yo, Drake, me and Nicki, we getting together. We need you on. Come through. And I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Okay, we'll have to see. Kwamel said he's going to call in after he eats. Obviously, he has some commentary on this topic. You need to call in sooner. We might be rolled on to the next topic by then, after you get your snack in. I appreciate you checking us out. Fahima says, I would love to see Nicki stop beefing with Cardi. I mean, here's the thing. So I am 50-50 on that. And here's why. One, I think, they should stop beefing because it seems to have gotten, a little violent enough. We saw what happened with Lil' Kim and Foxy back in the day, and it ended up with jail time for Kim and some other things. So we don't want any of that. But I do think a little bit of competitive nature is good for hip hop. And we've had a lot of beefs across men in rap and hip hop, beefs on wax. I'm talking about keeping it within the music. So I feel like women should be allowed to do that too. And it shouldn't be such a sensitive topic. And also, I don't think everybody necessarily has to like each other or get along. I don't think that there is a problem with that. It's nice to be all kumbaya, and we hope for that. But the reality is you're not going to like everybody, and everybody's not going to click, right? But yeah, stop the violence, increase the peace, but they don't have to be friends. I don't think that. It would have been nice, but Cardi and Megan are linked up. We got a duo right there. When we come forward, more trending topics and headlines. You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Just got a new apartment. I'm gonna leave the floor wet. Walk around this naked, and nobody can tell me. Nobody can tell me.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The group responsible for naming birds across the Americas is renaming all birds named after people. The American Ornithological Society says it's because a lot of those people turned out to have problematic pasts that could distract from appreciation of the birds themselves. Examples include Audubon Shearwater, named after John Audubon, famous bird illustrator and slave owner who opposed abolition. New names will be more descriptive about a bird's habitat or physical features. Several organizations gathered in Baltimore to call for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Members of Jewish Voice for Peace, the Black Alliance for Peace, and Baltimore Palestine Solidarity marched from Penn Station to the office of Maryland's 7th District Congressman Kwesi Mfume, asking that he sign the ceasefire resolution demanding de-escalation, a ceasefire, and more humanitarian aid in Gaza. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in celebrating the season of giving by being part of the solution. As we enjoy great food, family, warmth, and well wishes in whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours. Now through December 20th, all of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net, and together we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our Black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your Black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
And break it down low to the flow. There you go. Now throw it on me, showing every time I bust a rhyme, baby, give me some more. You see it like that when I hit it from behind, and I'll be right back. Yeah, that's my very next line. I use it time after time when I'm speaking my mind. It's no matter from shooting game to a pitch in a dime. Now ask you who that is. Talking about the tick. Somebody probably jealous cause they chick got hit. But ain't nobody else dropping like this. Should we apologize? Just leave them pissed. Hey. Underlay, mommy. What's poppin' now? Underlay, mommy.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out Nelly Mo. Is today his actual birthday? Yeah, shout out to Nelly. Ashanti just surprised him with a surprise party. I'm not sure who the guests are because I literally just saw it really quickly flash across Instagram. But, she's going all out for baby boy. I'm liking the spin the block.
It's looking like they were doing karaoke.
Oh, they were doing karaoke?
That's what it looked like because I saw her live just for a little bit and it looked like he was doing karaoke.
Okay. Well, it's his 49th birthday. They're doing the boo thing. She bought him the 6'4" the other day. Continues with the surprise party. I don't know. Maybe Ashanti will get that ring.
Are Nelly and Ashanti the new relationship goals?
I don't feel like I don't think so. I think relationship goals is an outdated phrase. I don't feel as though we will be hearing a lot of that for a while, I just like couples. I don't feel like anybody should, none of y'all ain't goals to me. No,
well, we do want to see them win, though, right?
We want to see them win.
Got it.
That is for sure. So that, for me, when I'm enthusiastic about that stuff, it is for that very reason. I love. I want to see people find their person, come together, have a good time, and make the most of it, So if they seem happy, I'm happy, and that's what it is. So we hope they win. It seems sweet. And, if not, hope the next one wins. This is the one that does it for them then, We're just going to keep that thing moving. Shout out to Pretty Brown Mimi who hopped into the YouTube chat and promptly hopped back out of it. We appreciate you checking in, though. Forensic accountant says, this boy stole the hook from Speedy Gonzalez. He sure did, and it was genius. It was catchy. And in, what was that, 2002? 2000. Okay. He had everybody rocking, and we were coming off of the years of the South had something to say. Nelly was like Midwest stand up. He had those arches representing hip hop pretty hardcore. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at, listen, Nelly even went on and put out a women's clothing line. You got to give Nelly some, that stuff was ugly and cheap. However, he did it, Cornell, what is Nelly's last name? Haynes. Okay. Attempted baseball player, right? I wonder, the last of the era of when we were still playing baseball. I don't know. We talked about that the other night. I would like to see, let's get back into it. Forensic accountant is breaking down the proper pronunciation. Hey, we're in Southern California, bruh. I think you are too. I'm not sure where you are. We absolutely understand the proper pronunciation of underlay, all of that. We know he was just making it catchy for the song. When you're making a catchy line, a catchy lyric, It doesn't have to be grammatically correct because that's not the point. The point is to enjoy it and have fun. That's why your Sexy Red is winning and everybody running around talking about ski wee. Because is there even technically a proper spelling? I'm surprised that the AKAs haven't come at her. Low key. Like you said, low key. I mean, she's not exactly on theirs, but it's close. And the way that they are protective over their brand or things, you heard some people talking about they don't even like people wearing pink and green together. So you would think something that kind of really mimics their, tie would get their grinds going. But I suppose they learned their lesson with a couple of those things. Maybe we just let pop culture do its thing and not get into all of that. So listen, continuing on this hip hop topic that we've been on, I mentioned J. Cole and kind of what he said that he expects Drake to get his lick back in the form of the song and the first person shooter and so forth, because people are saying that J. Cole kind of washed Drake on the track. But here's another thing that is kind of interesting and for J. Cole, bittersweet. So last month, he finally reached his first #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. And that's thanks to First Person Shooter, the song he did with Drake. But in an interview on Lil Yachty's A Safe Place podcast, he said that although it was a career milestone, if it would have went #2, it wouldn't have mattered. He said, I wouldn't have felt any type of way. If the other song would have went #1, it's like, bruh, I'm cool. And he felt that way because he somewhat wished that it would have happened differently. He said, I'd almost feel better not having my first #1 being off of a Drake alley-oop. You know what I mean? He said that though grateful that a record he's featured on, went to #1 and allowed Drake to tie with Michael Jackson's record for 13 #1 hits. A travesty, a travesty, a travesty. Listen, streaming and physical sales, there should be a distinction somewhere. But that's a topic for another day, because there's no way in the world you can tell me. And I love Drake. I'm a Drake fan. Drake stand down, had the burned CD back in the day of all the mixtapes, but you cannot tell me that Drake equates with Michael Jackson's #1s. It's just not the same. That's just a side though. But so back to J. Cole. He said that, it's just that if the other song would have went to #1, I'm still grateful to be a part of it. I wasn't at home like, come on, y'all, pick up the strings, man. We got to beat this. Yeah, come on. We got First Person Shooter to #1. It was me and Drake. Fans still buy iTunes single, the digital, but he just feels like, one, he wishes that it kind of would have been another way. And he appreciates people. And two, I think he kind of wishes it would have been maybe one of his own songs, I mean, and that's understandable. Again, not looking a gift horse in the mouth, not being unappreciative. And I think he's very careful to say that. But I think that, he wanted to make it on his own standing. So For All the Dogs marked the first time that J. Cole and Drake have collaborated together since 2013's Jodeci Freestyle, which was my jam. I did like that. But I didn't realize it had been 10 years, right? So, it's interesting how Drake moves around. He spreads his features around and the people that join him around. So I think that's why sometimes it always feels so good when he links back up with people, because it's sprinkled in with other things. But it is curious that it took them 10 years to circle back. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose AmeriCorps.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Quamel, welcome in. I'm glad you got your snack all taken care of. What's going on? Talk to us.
It was not a snack. It was actual dinner after the gym and all that.
Okay. Get your sustenance. You got to replace.
Got to get the body working right. So much of this will also kind of jump from the whole Queen Latifah statement. I feel like right now in the culture of Black people in America, we're too stuck on our men and our women wanting to be adversaries and making like everything, like our women making like everything the guys do is the supreme downfall of Black people, and the guys making like everything the women do is the supreme downfall of Black people, to where you're putting, little party records like Sexy Red on this pedestal and blowing it out of proportion that really should not be. And I think it's affecting where there could be excitement in the music, and in the culture as a whole, and in all the movements that we normally would have a lot of fun kind of making happen together. And it makes me say, I cannot wait for a time to kind of return back to unity where we're actually propping each other up and saying, okay, you know what, we're, everything that we're doing here is in the spirit of improving the breed, improving the art, and improving the culture. It's just too far in this whole kind of adversarial like kind of almost irritate each other, stick it to each other, score points on each other game that I just cannot stand right now.
So wait, let me ask you: are you pro Sexy Red, like as a fun party record, or you were against that?
It's a party record. It's not. It's not for me. I'm Gen X. It's not aimed at me. I don't. I don't go to clubs. I don't. I'm not. I'm not running around. Trying to find myself.
A
In
pink cookie
situations
and a brown
like that.
Tootsie Roll?
I'm not. No. There might be some stuff that's going on with that generation. It's kind of cringe, as they say. But to just watch these people on the internet blow it out of proportion and make like that's what's wrong with black women. That's what's wrong with black men. Like it's just too much part of that's these stupid toxic voices that we keep hearing thrown at us, and want our outrage so bad so they can make some money off of us. But yeah, as far as to the music, I feel like it should be the way Nas and LL and some of them were saying, like, look, just make art and may the best art win and get the proper attention it deserves, and hopefully DJs catch on to it and all that. But there just seems to be this thing that everybody's kind of stuck on, and you got birds like DJ Academics kind of fanning the flames of it. Where it is like like everybody's looking at for what's wrong with the culture instead of supporting stuff that they think is dope. You know what I mean?
But do you think it's
And
really that? Because I feel like though we have a lot of conversation around these topics, if we look at the streaming numbers and hip hop still, though the money is down, the market share is still relatively the same. So I think people are supporting what they like. It's just a lot of discourse as to, which side is really tearing each other down or what. But let me ask you, did you agree with what Latifah posted, or how did you feel about what she said as far as academics and which they felt he was targeting and so forth?
I mainly feel like we're stuck on taking sides and missing the wider point that we've been doing this for so many years and letting it play to black male and female insecurities, about money or about whether we get to be sexually expressive or whether we're seen as for the streets, all this other stuff that. It's driving us all nuts. We're just outraged with each other, and it's constant outrage Olympics every single day out there. And a Sexy Red record should not be blown out of proportion any more than a Two Live Crew record should have been blown out of proportion back in '89 or '91. You know what I mean? Or a Too Short record in all the time he's been doing his thing.
But
Because
to be fair, here's the thing.
It's the same thing, really.
You're right, and that's a great point. But to be fair, weren't those records, and Andy's going to jump in, but weren't those records considered controversial, morally outside of what was represented? And a lot of people, a lot of them women, a lot of them from the religious aspect may have blocked that. For Gen Xers, think about, we had C. Dolores Tucker, we had all of those things where they would go and buy the tapes and roll over the tapes and albums and CDs with a steamroller and things of that nature. So I feel like the sentiment was the same as far as we shouldn't be exposing our kids to this. But then here's the second thing. I don't know if it is the children that this stuff is doing damage to, because if you look at all the studies and all the it obviously is doing some damage. Let me clear that up. But as far as, being sexually promiscuous and how far it's taken it, it's actually it seems to have the opposite effect based on social media and a couple of other things. That generation of Gen Z and, younger millennials are having sex less than the Gen X generation. They also are linking up less. The pregnancy rates are down, and they even want to see less sex in the TV and films that they watch. So have we reached kind of our peak It is nice, but have we reached our peak beef stage and blown out? And really, we're on the start of, you know, a new correction because all of the bad things that they talked about would happen to us with that music, some things did, some things did not. But as far as the sexuality and those effects, it actually, if you think about it, the rise in the discussion of sex and music and all of these topics was also for us and our generation, the rise of condoms being more visible, for it being more okay for people to purchase that type of stuff. TLC with Left Eye wearing the condoms on their thing and the clothes, Salt and Pepper, let's talk about sex. So, did it really have the impact and the effect that we try and pointed towards when you look at the statistics that bore out of it, although some other things are out of whack?
I mean, I want to think of it in this way. For one, I would like to think that we're starting to get the picture about what things are just dumb and just messy. You brought up that whole thing with Megan Thee Stallion's ex, which I didn't know that person was now her ex. I'm like,
party.
Like, what would make you be that messy? It just something about that just speaks to not being very bright. You know what I mean?
But they're young.
After a while, let me. You can only say so much for being young too, because sometimes you just look a little silly doing some of these things.
Yeah.
And if we're figuring that out, that's fine. But otherwise, I do think, again, it's that we're now in this whole socialization of constantly lobbing at each other, our men and our women. I almost say queer people looking at us like, what is wrong with these straight people? Why are these people constantly fighting all the time? Like, do y'all like each other? You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's a huge problem to constantly see these lobs. And like, oh, let me dunk on them and score these points because it's gonna make me some money. But then you got a bunch of people that buy into that. I'm gonna try to keep talking in circles. But yeah, that is the main correction I think needs to happen to really get back to properly having fun. And by the way, I don't think a lot of this music is hip hop, but that's another story.
Well, Cormac, I want to hold you over if you so are inclined, because I got another question for you on the other side. If you would like to
rock on with your bad.
I love it.
Sure, why not, Miss Monroe?
Get ready for hour 3 on RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. On the other side, we're gonna have a little more about this conversation about men and women in hip hop. Because I have a question. Since we're targeting each other, I'm going to go someplace, and I want to hear some of Andy's thoughts. Plus, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines, as we always do. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
12 hours, weight loss, powers from fat form to iceberg slim in one shower. Get a room at Trump Towers just to hit the 3 hours. Kick the up out the room, cause you use the word hours. Hey, underlay,